under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thanks, Red. Okay, first item on of business is to approve the minutes from the April 15 meeting. Any additions, corrections? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Has anyone signed up to speak that we're aware of? No. Okay, so we'll move right on to the local labor monitoring report. Kevin Loki.
Good afternoon. So I have the April 2025 monthly COMIDA report covering our business between the 1st and 30th of April 2025. We made 52 monthly site visits during this period. We had 2 follow-up visits. We checked residency with 1,139 workers. We had 6 issues of non-compliance. And we had 2 new COMIDA signs delivered, one to BDC Rochester LLC and one to Cascade District LLC. Any questions on that?
Guess not, so we can move on to the local labor exemptions report.
Sure. So this will be all of the exemptions that we processed in April 2025. First one was for Fairlife, Local 13 P&J, submitted for a lack of local labor. Local JACO is asking for exemption for 3 workers in the Fairlife project. Local 13 has provided process and carbon steel, and one for a pipe fitter plumber. They're running low on certain skilled workers in the area and requesting exemption for 3 union workers residing outside of the 10 counties but New York State residents. We consider that waiver to be valid. Any questions on that waiver? So the next one I have also for Fairlife, no surprise. Local 86 and O'Connell Electric. This is lack of local labor. O'Connell Electric is asking for an exemption for 5 electrical workers on the project. IBEW Local 86 has provided a letter for each worker, which are all journeyman wiremen, stating their experience and skill level as necessary for this project. Any questions there? And the last one is for Fairlife is Professional Installation Services of Belmont. This is also a lack of local labor. So Professional Installation Services of Belmont is being hired to perform piping installation work at the Fairlife project. The scope of work was listed on the local builders exchange and local companies were asked to bid. Unfortunately, no local contractors were available for this portion of work as they were busy with other projects or struggling to find qualified workers. This information was provided directly from the local builders exchange, which also reached out to local contractors directly to see if they could bid on the project. Project did their due diligence to find a local company, but unfortunately no one could commit to the job. Any questions on that final Fairlife waiver? And the final one that I have for you is for Del Monte Development. It's for Truax and Hovey, lack of local labor. So Truax and Hovey, this is another Gypcrete waiver that you've commonly seen. It's Truax and Hovey and Henderson Johnson. It's generally going to be one of each. I believe last time I spoke to you, they were looking into finding a local company that does this work. Unfortunately, there are not. While there are contractors that will perform Gypcrete work that reside in the local area, they'll only do that work if it's part of a broader scope, and it's not just for the Gypcrete. They won't exclusively do Gypcrete work. If there's other work that's part of it, other framing or different scopes, they'll participate in that, but they won't do it just for Gypcrete. And that's why we only have those 2 contractors being pulled out of Syracuse to do that work.
Well, there's no money in Gypcrete, or is it?
Not so much. It's very like pennies to the dollar compared to the large scope of these projects. It represents only a fraction of a percentage of the total cost. It's very messy work. Generally, there's only 2 or 3 people that do this floor underlayment stuff. But some people just don't want to get involved in the mess of it, and it's not worth their while, which is why, because of that, because of how cheap it is, that's why they don't want to do it, again, unless it's part of a larger scope of services provided.
Okay.
Any other questions?
Great reports.
Thank you.
Kevin.
You have a great day. Thank you.
Thanks, Kevin.
Greg, update of our financial position.
Yeah, so financials through April, our cash accounts represent about $950,000, which represents about 740,000 made up of the COMIDA operating accounts and money market accounts. The other 200,000 approximately is in our Apex account. That's a little lean for us based on what we anticipate here coming due for workforce development. So we have a bond coming due. We may take a little bit of that bond that matures and add a little bit to our operating account.
How much are you thinking of on that?
Probably only a couple $100,000.
I see.
So most of that'll roll over, which is about $2 million, but we'll take a little bit of that to fund our future anticipated expenses.
Okay.
The grant funding is the Fast New York grant. Remember, we started with $7 million. That was our first tranche. We through April we spent $2 million, so we're at $5 million. Recently, we spent about another $3 million, so we're at about $2 million right now. And again, there's a corresponding liability. Remember, just a pass through, but you'll see us here over the next few months, requesting another tranche of those funds to be allocated to COMIDA to continue that program. Again, you can see our investments have gone up about $4 million, and that's the significant reason our cash went down. We received a big check the last week of December for a fee, a project that closed in December. We took that money in early January and bought some treasuries in January, and that is the reason for that increase in our investment account. All of our other assets and liabilities are performing to expectations and budgets. In terms of our revenue and expenses, we did have a good month. We were lagging behind in fee income through the first 3 months. We did generate about $129,000 in fee income in April. We started to see a little bit of uptick there as a couple of these projects that have come before the board are getting through the system and getting approved. So again, it's always a hard number to predict. And that does obviously fluctuate depending on when these projects close. More to come on that. Our interest income is really just a result of our investments, right? So if you look at approximately, call it a $13, $14, $17 million balance through the first 4 months of that year, if you look at what we're generating, about $311,000 over the first 4 months, that calculates about a 5% annual return, right? So we have different treasuries and bonds laddering through over about a 2-year process, 2-year window, and those rates vary. And as of recently, those rates have had a lot more volatility. So we're working closely with HPA to figure out what the best strategy is.
Is it settling down a little bit now, do we think?
No.
Yeah, it seems like, before it was more of a month-to-month look. It seems like there's a lot more volatility week-to-week, day-to-day than we've seen, certainly with a lot of the news and, tariffs and how that affects everything going on. So there's certainly a lot of more volatility in the week-to-week, and we're working with HPA to figure out what our best strategy is to maximize our return. Because again, as you can see, the organization's in great financial position. We have the flexibility to kind of pick and choose where we want to put those, and do we want to do something in the short term, which probably gives us a greater rate, depending, if we want to invest something in the longer term, we're not going to get as good of rate. But if rates come down, if we were to get 3.9% looking 2 years out and the rates come down, that may look like a really good return as if things change. So lot of moving parts there, but I'm glad we have HPA to help us navigate through those. Overall, like I said, you can see where our program and community development is lagging towards budget. That mainly is our workforce development funds. Again, overall, we believe that's really just a timing difference, right? We try to predict when those expenses are going to hit, and through the first 4 months, they just, again, there just takes a little bit longer. So overall, our program and community development expenses represent about $2.8 million. Of that, about 2.2 is workforce development. So although we're lagging behind through the first 4 months of the year, we do anticipate certainly over the next 3 months 4 months, those picking back up as people, as the organizations come to us for funding. So again, that really, to us, really represents a timing difference there. And then our general administration is pretty much on target, and Apex just really represents timing difference of when we get income and the expenses come in to reimburse, so we expect that to even out throughout the year. Overall, through the first 4 months, like I said, we are showing a deficit of about $475,000. Again, expected and projected based on what we were lagging behind that a little bit through the first 4 months, but we anticipate as the workforce developments come due, that'll get back on track. We have budgeted for that as the organization's in a really good, strong financial position. The amount of fees that we have generated probably historically over the last 3 years, part of that is putting back into mainly the workforce development programs that we have been that have been budgeted and generally approved by the board. So overall, to be expected first 4 months of the year.
Okay, great. The year-to-date revenue number for end of April this year versus last, we've actually moved up a bit so that we're almost in line with the revenue generation last year. And then on the expense side, we're under budget considerably. So that's also good until a lot of that's timing related to the projects and where the money's going to be spent, but looks pretty good.
Yeah, all good.
Any questions?
Just a couple questions on the volatility of the bond market and Moody's downgrading our rating. How's that going to impact our strategy? Or will that be discussed with our consultant?
Yeah, I think we'll rely on HPA to provide us that guidance. They're in touch with that on a day-to-day basis, and like I said, as we have, there's really two levers that come into play, right? As we have any more excess cash, right? If we deem that we have excess working capital that we want to put into the market, we'll look at where that best fits. We'll rely on them to tell us, hey, based on what we know, it's a little bit of a crystal ball effect, like depending on what's on the other side of that, we'll rely on them to provide us that guidance on what we would buy. In addition, generally every 3 months, right? So we're in May, right? We had one come due, it'll be August, November, and those will come due. We'll look at work with our advisors to figure out, hey, do we buy something in the short term if we think, rates may, be going up, or do we want to buy in the long, thinking that, the rates may go down and we'll get a better rate at that time. So it's nice to have the expertise of HPA, and we'll be working with them to discuss those alternatives.
Thank you.
Any other questions for Greg? All right, thanks for Greg very much, and we'll move on to the projects at this point. The first one being QED Technologies International LLC. Anna.
Thank you, Ann. QED Technologies International LLC is renovating and expanding into a 20,000 square foot facility adjacent to its current location in the city of Rochester. Renovations to current warehouse space include the creation of foundational infrastructure and the addition of a mezzanine for house offices for QED's fabrication, service, and application teams. The expansion also includes the installation of metrology tools, equipment, and MRF platforms to increase QED's research and development and manufacturing processes. QED plans to create 43 new FTEs in addition to retaining its existing 15 FTEs. The $3.8 million project is seeking a sales tax exemption only at this time, and the cost to benefit ratio is 483 to 1.
Thanks, Anna. We have Shannon Weaver, Human Resource Manager, and Daniel Keeley, Business Development Manager with us. Would you like to step up to the podium and tell us more?
So kind of the background of this is we used to be owned by a company called CMC, and their philosophy was send the checks back home, keep selling the products that you have. But about a year and a half ago, maybe 2 years ago, we were bought by a new private equity group whose strategy is growth. And so under the prior group, we basically had gotten rid of our entire R&D team. So this brings R&D kind of back into the company. We have a small fabrication division, part of the company, that usually represents about 5% of revenue, although this year it's going to be about 10% of revenue. And we really want to invest in both those areas of the business. And by investing in the fabrication area, buying new capital equipment, actually developing some capital equipment ourselves, we hope that we can use that area to create some new product lines. And there are some platform technologies. We talked a little bit about our MRF, which is magnetorheological finishing. It's a type of finishing of optics that finishes your optics to the most precise measurements and specs that you need. So our fabrication division largely supplies Department of Energy and Department of Defense. So high energy laser weapons are some of the things that we actually produce a lot of, as well as space optics, things like telescopes. And our machines are integral in everything that you read about with extreme UV semiconductor manufacture. We are export controlled. Yeah, and I guess the other point is we're going through a lot of expansion, and we are looking at M&A targets, and one of the options was a target in Arizona. So there was a choice between, do we develop a demo room in Arizona and have more presence where there's the other optics hub in the United States, or do we try to continue to expand here? And so we're looking to expand here.
Wise move.
Appreciate that.
We do appreciate that. Any questions from the board?
I just have a quick question. Are you anticipating any problems hiring people?
We've been quite successful. This last year we hired 26 people. We have a strong optics base here, and so we're able to recruit pretty effectively. We also have an awesome benefits program. So although I can't say it's easy, we've been very successful in our hiring, and I expect that that's going to continue.
Are you looking at people coming here from someplace else,
Yeah.
or people who live here?
We're primarily focused on people who are here already.
Great.
Some of our competitors and other local optics companies aren't too happy about that, but we've been pretty successful in recruiting from some of the other local optics companies.
Thank you.
And MCC does a great job.
Wow.
That's wonderful. Right. We've hired 3-4 graduates in the last 12 months from that program, which is very helpful. And then just being near the U of R, we have a lot of good scientists, PhDs, masters. So usually we're very lucky to be where we are. That's obviously why we're investing where we are.
Well, just to mention MCC, you complete the circle, because we support the photonics and optics at MCC through one of our programs, our workforce development programs. So you hiring them, being part of that circle, it's so important, and thank you for choosing Rochester.
Yeah, thank you for investing in that program. Helps us a lot.
Okay, any questions? All right, there was a public hearing on this matter on May 15th. No comments there? Okay. I'll go ahead and ask you our local labor questions. Are you aware of our local labor policy?
Yes.
And do you anticipate any local labor exemptions at this time?
I do not at this time.
And are you aware that any exemptions need to be requested 45 days in advance?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. The secret process is complete. I'll now ask for a motion for inducement and final resolution approving a sales tax exemption. It's been moved by Lisa, seconded by Rhett. Any other comments on that? All right, I'll go ahead and take a roll call vote. Norm?
Yes.
Truman?
Yes.
Lisa?
Yes.
Rhett?
Yay.
Ray is absent, and Ann is a yay. Motion carries.
Thank you very much.
Congratulations, good luck to you.
Thank you.
It is so exciting.
It is awesome.
That's good feedback, right?
It's
That's
true.
what we're doing is working.
It really is.
Especially in this
Bye-bye.
environment, you've got a lot of businesses who aren't, because of the volatility in the economy, not investing
Right.
in infrastructure and research and development. But seems like they're doing it, so
Wow,
incredible.
yeah, you know, what we're doing, it's working, you know.
And QED is a great story, great case study. They have, I think their technology, as Dan pointed out, is kind of the only one of its kind in the world. They sort of have cornered the market in metrology and optics and photonics, so the fact that they opted to do this project in New York over Arizona is a huge win.
I know, you sent me that, you sent us that,
Yeah.
the website, I said, oh my, right here in our locale, that's perfect.
And hearing that they're losing people from U of R and MCC, I mean, that's just the kind of thing we want to hear.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
Terrific.
Okay, moving right along, the next item on the agenda is JK Property Solutions LLC.
JK Property Solutions LLC, a real estate holding company, is adding a 10,300 square foot expansion to its facility in the town of Chili for related entity J. Kozel and Son. The expanded facility will be used to consolidate the company's Tool Ranch, Ontario division and newly acquired NS Fasteners. A majority of the new facility will serve as office and warehouse space, with the remaining portion being dedicated to Tool Ranch's drive-through pickup operations. J. Kozel and Sons plans to create 9 new FTEs in addition to its existing 29 FTEs. The $2.8 million project is seeking a real property tax abatement, mortgage recording tax exemption, and sales tax exemption, and the cost to benefit ratio is 39-1.
Very good, 39-1, we'll take that.
Yes.
Do we have Jeff Loeffler, President? Sorry about that. President with us, and can you elaborate? Tell us more.
Thank you for your time. Jeff Loeffler, J. Kozel Son. Our company has been in a pretty high growth trajectory the past number of years. Our steel division has been exporting to other states finished fabricated products for primarily for Tractor Supply stores. We just shipped one this week to Cheyenne, Wyoming. The pandemic really kind of made us think outside the box a little bit, or quite a lot for us. And while we're not high tech, we are growing. So our Tool Ranch division is in Lancaster, New York, and Ontario. We had a local competitor approach us last summer because he wanted to be bought out. We just closed on that last week, or 2 weeks ago now. And so we're gonna need new space to kind of consolidate both those businesses. And it was really kind of the boost to get us going on that. So this project will help. It's much more convenient for contractors to come Scottsville Road right off the exit, and building the drive-through will be huge for us as well. There's some local companies that were bought by some out-of-town people, and they really aren't servicing the industry like we are, and so the drive-through will just up our game significantly. So, any questions?
Any questions from the board? All right. There was a public hearing held on May 15th. Any comments at that meeting? Robin?
No, sorry, no.
Okay. And I'll then ask you our local labor questions. Are you aware of our local labor policy?
Yes.
And do you anticipate any local labor exemptions at this time? Are you aware that any exemptions need to be requested 45 days in advance?
Yes.
Okay, great. The seeker process is complete. I'd like a motion now for inducement and final resolution approving a real property tax abatement, mortgage recording tax exemption, and sales tax exemption. Been moved by Rhett,
Second.
seconded by Norm. Any comments, questions on that? All right, I'll call for a vote. Norm?
Yes.
True? True. Truman?
All my friends call me True. You're a friend. No, it's fine, I like it, you know, I feel like I'm part of the family. Yes.
Okay, great. Lisa?
Yes.
And Brett?
Yay.
And Ray is absent and Ann is here, so motion carries. Thank you very much. Good luck to you.
Good luck, thank you.
Good, I appreciate you.
It's true, all my friends call me True.
Okay. What page are we on?
Page 84
Still
begins
84,
the modification.
Yeah. Page 84, which is an assignment assumption. Want to review that?
Of course. Tilden Rochester Highlands Apartments LLC has entered into an agreement to purchase the housing project at 336-380 West Fall Road in the city of Rochester and is requesting approval to assume the real property tax abatement. And that original approval was 2005.
And do we have Stephen Catarinella, the Chief Investment Officer? Oh, there he is, and zooming right in. Welcome. Would you like to elaborate on this? Would you like to elaborate on this modification of the assumption?
Sure. So, we are currently the property manager at Rochester Highlands, an affiliate of the new ownership group is currently the property manager there. We've been doing so since about 2018, CAPREIT Residential Management. We currently own and or manage about 10,000 units across the country, about half of which are affordable housing, LIHTC or HUD deals. And, the current owner here is selling, and because we've been there for such a long time and like the property, like our staff and like the area, and that's the reason why we want to purchase it and continue to own and operate the deal into the future. We'll continue to operate it as we have been. Like I said, we're an advocate for affordable housing across the country. And as a new owner, bringing in a new partner, we intend to infuse about $5 million in capital improvements to the project, deferred maintenance, roofs, exteriors, common areas, and improvements to the units as well. So we're excited to continue our affiliation with the deal and keep serving our residents well.
Okay, great. Any questions by the board?
Is this still under like an extended use agreement for affordability?
That's correct, and we intend to keep that in place.
How many more years are remaining of affordability?
I think this goes through 2036, but I'd have to double check.
And do you know what the AMI restrictions are?
60% AMI?
Any other questions? All right, I'll ask for a motion to approve the sale of the facility and assignment of the real property tax abatement. Is there a motion? Moved by Truman.
Second.
Seconded by Norm. Any comments, additions, changes? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Where is, is that right across from Costco's? Where's that on West Wall Road? The location?
I can't hear you, I'm sorry.
Is the location, is that in the city of Rochester, or is it, where is it located?
Yes.
Right across from Costco's?
I think so. I'm not intimately familiar with it, but I tell you what, our head of construction and development is from Rochester originally. We're down in Philadelphia now, but he really knows the area very well. Yeah.
Okay, all right.
It is in the city of Rochester, and I'm just pulling
Near
up.
Green Knolls? Is that the one near Green Knolls? I'm just trying to visualize a complex on
It is
West
by
Wall.
Green Knolls, yes.
Okay,
Green Knolls
okay.
loops around
Okay,
this location.
it's very well maintained.
Yeah, it's about 500 units, so it's a pretty big community too.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it, guys.
Thank you very
Ladies,
much.
take care.
So next
Okay, the next modification is Fair Life LLC.
And Fairlife LLC is constructing a manufacturing facility in the town of Webster, as you all may be aware, to produce a high-protein milk beverages using a cold filtration process. And in October of 2023, the project was approved for a mortgage reporting tax exemption, sales tax exemption, and a custom real property tax abatement. The applicant is now seeking approval of the sublease of the wastewater treatment plant portion of the facility to Solutions Group. Solutions Group will cause, through the general contractor Haskell, the completion of the wastewater treatment plant, which is an integral and essential part of the overall project. Fairlife is also seeking an extension of the sales tax exemption through December 31st, 2026, due to a longer than originally anticipated construction schedule.
Okay, we have Representative Kevin McAuliffe here. Good afternoon.
Thank you, Madam Chair, members of the board. I'd be glad to answer any questions. It's pretty straightforward what we're seeking here. Sales tax exemption extension period is obvious. It's taken a while longer than we thought to build this project out, and obviously then pay all the bills, and we anticipate there will be things occurring in 2026, and thus the request for the extension. And then the company looked at different ways to reduce its cash outlay, and one of them was to enter into a finance leaseback transaction on the wastewater treatment plant. This plant was always a part of the project. It's on the premises. It's in your leased property. And under the leaseback agreement, we need your consent to enter into a sublease with any party. So Solutions Group builds wastewater treatment plants, working with contractors on plants like this. And then separately, we will enter into an operations agreement with them where they will separately run it, coordinate the output, both timing and content, with the town of Webster, so that at all points in time, we're in compliance with what the town of Webster treatment plant can accept.
Any questions on that? All right. I'll ask for a motion. Thank you, Kevin. I'll ask for a motion to approve an extension of the sales tax exemption through December 31, 2026, and approve a sublease of the wastewater treatment portion of the facility to the Solutions Group. Moved by Norm, seconded by Lisa. Any additions or corrections? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you very much.
Thank you
Appreciate
very
it.
much.
Robin, was Haskell, was that Amazon, Haskell?
Okay. The Whitney Baird Associates is the next modification.
Whitney Baird Associates LLC, a local real estate development company, was approved in 2010 to acquire and renovate the former Culver Road Armory in the city of Rochester. In August 2013, Phase 2 was approved, and in March 2016, Phase 3 was approved for custom real property tax abatement, sales and mortgage recording tax exemptions. Phase 3 of the project consists of a 15,000 square foot multi-tenant building. The project was approved for a modification to increase and extend their sales tax exemption in February of 2023. The applicant is now requesting an additional increase in sales tax exemptions. The total project cost is now $5,979,762, and exemptions are now not to exceed $202,287.
Thank you. So this is a Fred Rinaldi project, and it follows the Armory, the Fleet Street. You know, it's a continuing process there to develop the opportunity for the community. So, any questions on that? All right, I'll ask for a motion to approve an increase in project costs of $1 million for an increase in the sales tax exemption to an amount not to exceed $202,287. Is there a motion? Moved by Rhett, seconded by Lisa. Any comments, changes? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Okay, Rock Depot.
Rock Depot LLC, a real estate holding company, is constructing a new 35,000 square foot facility in the town of Gates. The $3,901,366 project was originally approved in May 2023. The project was approved for a real property tax abatement, sales tax exemption, and mortgage recording tax exemption, and the applicant is now seeking an extension on the sales tax exemption through December 31st of 2025 due to construction delays caused by water pressure issues at the end of the water main.
Okay,
That's interesting.
any questions on that?
Well, if it was here, we'd ask them about the water
Right,
pressure,
right.
but,
What happened?
That's a new one.
Yeah. Okay, I'll ask for a motion to approve an extension of the sales tax exemption through December 31, 2025. Moved by Rhett and
Second.
seconded by Drew. Any questions, changes, edits? All those in favor of a motion to approve an extension of the sales tax exemption through December 31, 2025. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Okay, Buckingham Properties.
Buckingham Properties LLC is renovating 220 Alexander Street, a 117,350 square foot building in the city of Rochester. Renovations of 35,000 square feet on the building's 6th and 7th floors will be completed for tenant Copley Design Group, PDG. The $4.9 million project was originally approved in March 2025 for a special real property tax abatement, sales tax exemption, and mortgage reporting tax exemptions. And the applicant and tenant are now jointly seeking an extension of the sales tax exemptions through December 31st of 2026, as the anticipated project completion date has been extended due to delays related to supply chain planning and design.
Okay, any question on that? All right, I'll ask for a motion to approve an extension of the sales tax exemptions through December 31, 2026. Been moved by Lisa, seconded by Norm. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Okay, we are now going to move into executive session under section 105D of the Public Officers Law for the purpose of discussing litigation. Therefore, I'm asking for a motion to enter into an executive session under section 105D to discuss the proposed litigation. Is there a motion? Moved by Rhett, seconded by Norm. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? motion carries.
Have it.
Now I'd like a motion to approve the execution of a 5-year extension of the tolling agreement. Is there a motion? Moved by Norm and seconded by Rhett. Any additions, corrections on that? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Okay, thanks, Steve.
Of course, you know what's going on.
All right, Anna, we didn't, in our March meeting, our annual meeting, we didn't approve our officers. And so we're coming back to that item now. Anna, you want to talk to us about it?
Yes, of course. I'm pleased to recommend on behalf of staff that Truman Tollfree be appointed as our vice chair, which is a current vacancy, and Ray Ryerson be appointed as our secretary, another vacancy. And I'm also pleased to recommend on behalf of staff to reappoint Amber as chair and Lisa Bolzner as treasurer. And then of course our ethics officers are the chair of the audit committee and the contracting officer. I'm also pleased to recommend appointment of ethics officers, chair of the audit committee, contracting officer, and executive director. I believe ethics officer is yourself and.
Probably under audit, yeah.
Yes, as the chair of the audit committee.
Right.
And then I currently serve as the executive director, as the director of planning and development for the county. And then our contracting officer, I believe is the same as our treasurer.
What's you?
It's myself. Okay, sorry. Thank you. The contracting officer is the executive director. Thank you. Are there any questions about any of those appointments or recommendations?
Okay.
Oh, I forgot, oh, I did, no, never mind, I didn't. Sorry.
All right, I'll ask for a motion to appoint the following officers: Amber chair, Truman Tollfree vice chair, Ray Ryerson secretary, Lisa Bolzner treasurer, ethics officers, chair of audit committee, and contracting officer, executive director. Is there a motion? Moved by Rhett.
Second?
Seconded by Norm. Any additions, corrections? All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. And we also have a Brew Road update. Anna.
Thank you. Yes, I'm pleased to report that 30 Brew Road has sold for $154,100, and we expect the remaining 2 parcels at Brew Road, which are currently under contract, will close on sale later this summer, and we will be providing the board with an additional update at that time.
And how much is on those second and third? I've forgotten.
Robin, do you know the list prices or the sale prices on those?
When
other
those
2
sell,
parcels?
it'll be, combined, it'll be $550,000.
For all 3?
No, for the 2. So it'll be 550 plus 154 for all 3. I can't do math in my head.
So, but we're just getting an update on the 154,000, we closed on that.
Correct.
And the timing is on parcel 2 and 3, and that is when?
They are under contract, and we expect to close on the sale later this summer, so July or August. And I will report back to the board on those closings when they take place. And the sale price in total for all 3 parcels will be north of $500,000, as Robin pointed out.
Was that the value when we took over the responsibility for
Oh, I'd have to go back and look.
I think the historical cost
Yeah.
was 6 1/4.
Yeah, I would
Is
say
what I think
so.
we have them on our books for.
Yeah.
So this will show about a $179,000 gain, right? 704 and 6 1/4. So.
That's great.
That's good.
Congratulations.
We'll take it.
It's called a win in real estate.
It's a huge win,
Yes.
because it was once a landfill.
It was.
It's the landfill that drives economic development.
Right.
Unbelievable.
We've had it for a long time.
been on the books for months, or years, pardon me,
The
years.
landfill was sited, they started work in 1989 and it was completed in 92, so.
It was CBRE who sold these? Who was the broker?
Pyramid Commercial
Pyramid.
Brokerage,
Sorry,
yeah. No, and then the intended uses are job creating commercial endeavors. So
Great.
to Norman's point, it is full circle economic development.
It's crazy. It was something at the time where everyone in Riga did not want that to happen there. Now they embrace it because of the host benefit package that they receive, and then it just, it drives, vitality, economic development. It's something that's incredible.
It's amazing. And we're not recording?
We are.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Fantastic.
So, thank you, we don't need to take any actions on that, so. I don't have any additional discussion items, and our next meeting is June 17th at noon here. And so I'll ask for a motion to close out the meeting.
So moved.
Thank you.
Seconded.